having me here today. My name is Jackie Hutton, and I'm an adjunct faculty member. I work with the AFC doing seminars. Just a little bit about myself. I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education and a math major. I have a master's degree in reading and language arts, and I'm working on another master's degree in special education with a dual concentration in learning disabilities and emotional impairment. And I'm just about finished with that program, so I'm pretty excited to be done. Okay, now in memory, we all have problems, believe it or not, but if you feel you have a memory problem, this is a great seminar. Okay, so how many of you think you have a memory problem? Okay, I know I do. I have a multiple close-knit injury, which consisted of, for 2 years, I had no idea who my family members were. I lost everything completely. But through many years of therapy and hard work, the only thing one of the major things I have left that I deal with every day is short-term memory loss. So it's a great presentation for myself, but for everyone else. Okay, so now looking back at your life, think to yourself, what is the earliest memory you can think of? Okay, yes. I remember the wallpaper that was on the wall outside my crib. What? Are you sure? You're pattern on the wallpaper, and I remember getting in the crib and looking at it. Does anybody else remember anything from their early childhood? Yeah.
I have a crib memory also. And it was right as my parents were getting divorced, so I had to have been 2 or younger. But I was in my crib, and I remember there being a neighbor girl that would always come over that was like probably a couple years older than me. And I had one of those play kitchen sets, and there was a pizza cutter in it, like a plastic pizza cutter. And I remember reaching my arm out of the crib and her saying, "You can't have it, it's too sharp." And like, I don't know why I remember that, but I just remember her taking it away from me, not letting me have my own pizza.
Now I can remember back when I was like 5 years old, my 2 brothers and my sister and I, we had a egg play Easter morning. We got up, found all the hard-boiled eggs, and we proceeded to throw them around the house at each other. So when my parents got up, of course, we were all in trouble, and we knew it, but my parents actually thought it was pretty funny, so all we had to do was clean up the mess. But that memory sticks out in my mind. Now the reason we can remember things from back when we were little is because at the time, you didn't have a lot of things to remember. Now, you have to remember like this. You know, you have to remember work schedule, school schedule. If you have children, you have to remember their schedule. You have to set time for yourself, but to do things with your kids, your spouse, your homework. So there's so much that we have to remember that it's easy to let something slip by and not remember. Okay, so this is going to be our agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about memory. There's some principles of memory, how we're going to start to learn the memorization process, and some strategy. Okay, so if you do not suffer a memory loss or amnesia, you don't really forget anything. We all think we do, but we don't. Either it's buried so deep into your stored memory that you fail to bring it out. You can't retrieve it. Or sometimes you just block it out completely. Like it could be a bad experience that you had, and car accident or something, and a month later you block it out because you just don't want to remember it because it was something bad that happened. So you just kind of block it out. Now here's the principles of memory. Okay? You need to pay attention to everything around you. Just like you're driving in a car, you need to be aware of what's around you. You want to try and get the information you're taking in right the first time. So if that involves saying it over and over and over in your mind or writing it out, this is a strategy that will actually help you remember that. Also, especially when you're in class, if you're learning something new, tell it to a friend after class. Work together. Say, okay, this is what I remember. Is this, what's important, or is this? By helping each other and working together and saying it, you have a better chance of storing it and an easier retrieval. Then you want to look at the big picture. Just don't look at, and this happens a lot, and I've even found myself in my classes. You know how you study for that test? We're not looking at the whole picture. We're not looking at that we need this information to help us in our career. We're looking at, I need to pass this test. So you're just focusing on that one thing when you need to be looking outward. You need to be looking at the whole picture. Okay, also, your prior knowledge, and you hear that a lot if you're going to education, you need to associate what you learn with your prior knowledge. Okay? If you learn something new, think, oh hey, this happened when I did this. So this is going to help me remember. So you always want to try and find that association with something. You need to work with organizing your material. That's when professors tell you, keep your notes organized in a binder. They're doing it for a reason. It's going to help you with your memory, your study skills. It's going to benefit you in the long run. Also, when you're doing your homework, everybody knows that for every hour of a class time, you have 2 hours of homework. So there's a lot, but you want to do it in little bunches. Don't sit there for 6 hours and work on your homework. Work on it for maybe an hour, take a break. You want to do it in little steps. You always want to repeat what you've learned. Also, if it's something that you can use now, every day, use it. The more you use it, the more you're going to retain it. Okay? And like I was saying with the friends, talk about it and restudy it. Now, professors will, I find myself when I was teaching that anything that was really important that you needed, I would repeat it like 3 times. And usually that's an indication that, I better remember that because they're saying it so many times. It's important, and it's probably going to be on the test or the exam. Now, you want to make sure you study those So in the long run, my mind gets all jumbled, and this is when you get, oh, I know that answer, but it could be this when you start second guessing yourself. And you can also use pictures.